So let's just go ahead and find those first, because those are the easy ones. Those are the ones we just had on your note paper. They're up here in this corner, right? Do you guys see this? Square root of 1 all the way to the square root of 100. These ones are the easy ones. So we're going to go ahead and play with those and get those answers on here first. So the square root of 0 is 0, and that's easy. The square root of 1 is 1, and the square root of 4 is 2. But square root of 8 is not a whole number, so I'm going to skip it for now. Is that cool? But square root of 9 is 3. The square root of 16 is 4. So I'm just going to keep on going through this list and get my perfect squares done. I'm going to blow up so you can see what I'm doing. All right, so I just did that. I go down to 25. That's equal to 5. I got to find 36. It's at the top of the next column, I hope. That one's equal to 6. And so you can see they're getting farther and farther apart now. Oh, here's 7. Oh, there's 8. Square root of 64 is 8. Square root of 81 is 9. And square root of 100 is 10. Okay. All right. So for the sake of us not losing our minds, I'm going to pick one. We're going to flip our paper and we're going to go through the process. Okay. So the one I want to pick to do with you is, the first one I want to pick for us to do is question 21, square root of 50. Okay. So flip your paper over. And I think I need to add a page. 8.5 by 11, add. And let's just write down a couple things on the back. So on the back, we're going to write our perfect square list along the top. So we know that these numbers are special. 1, 4, 9, 16. This is our perfect square list, right? 25, 36, and then 49. So I'm going to stop at 49 because we're going to do the square root of 50. Okay. All right. So now what I'm doing in my head is I'm saying I'm going to factor or see what two numbers multiply to make 50. But I don't want it to be 5 and 10 because 5 isn't up here and 10 isn't up here, right? 49 doesn't go into 50 like nicely, does it? No. It's 25. Very good. So this is why I picked this one, because this is a pretty easy one for us to see, right? But I'm going to write the 25 first. And I'm going to write that it's 25 times 2. Read? Okay, good. Good job. Now, because this has a radical on it or a square root symbol on it, I'm going to put a square root symbol on this and a square root symbol on that. And now, just so you guys kind of understand what's happening, I'm going to do two different things. I really would love it if it would just like hit the board correctly. There we go. I'm going to go here to my calculator, and I'm going to put in radical 25. And you already probably know what radical 25 is equal to, right? It's 5. So this part becomes 5. I forgot to silence my phone this morning. I apologize. So I can change that one. But I don't want to change, and I think I could just use my backup key. Nope, I can't. I don't want to change the square root of 2 because the square root of 2 is craziness, right? See how it's 1 point, blah, 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 blah. I'm not going to change that. So this becomes 5 radical 2. So before we walk away from this, this is what I'm going to do to prove that I'm right. In this one, I'm going to do the square root of 50 and hit enter. And this one, I'm going to do 5 radical 2. Do you guys see how they're the exact same decimal? So that means those two numbers are equivalent. And sometimes that's all you need to do because it might be multiple choice, right? Okay, so we can flip our paper over and we are going to write down that we now know that the square root of 50 is equal to, the 5 radical 2. My bad, 5 radical 2. Now, just so you kind of understand this paper, do you see how it jumps from 50 to 52? Well, that's because the square root of 51 can't be simplified. It's kind of like the fraction 7 over 10, right? 7 over 10 is as simple as it can get. So there are radicals that cannot be simplified, and there are a few that they trick you on, and so just be careful there. But that's why there's things that are missing. All right. Do you want to pick one? Pick a question for us to do. What's 81? The square root of 81? 9, right? Okay, so let's pick 80. How about we pick that one? Okay, because that's actually an interesting one for us to look at. So flip your paper. And I'm just going to draw a line here and box it off. And I'm going to put the square root of 80. Now, there's actually kind of 2 different ways you can do this. You can look for the largest perfect square first, or you can just go, hey, that's divisible by 4. I'm going to use 4 first. So how do your brains work? Do you guys want to try these numbers working backwards, or do you just want to be like, hey, I know this is 4 times something? Gabby, how does your brain work? Do you know that this is divisible by 4? That makes sense? Okay, so let's do that. So 4 is going to go here. It's 4 times what? How many 4s do I? Think of dollar bills. I can count by what with my dollar bills and get to 80. When I go to the ATM, they spit out at 20. It's 20s now, right? So 20, 40, 60, 80, right? I need 4 20s. Okay, so we're going to do our first breakdown. 4 was in the list. The square root of 4 is 2. Okay. But what we have to then say to ourselves, and so I'm going to write 4 radical 20. But can the 20 be changed? Is 20 divisible by 16, 9, or 4? Is 20 divisible by 4? Yeah, it's 5, right? 4 times 5. So can you always use your calculator to check if numbers are divisible by other numbers? So if you want to do that, then I would recommend working backwards from the highest. So this 20 is still 4 times 5, right? But this 4 is under a radical, this 5 is under a radical, but this 2 just comes down. This is this 2. And there's an invisible multiplication, right, between all of these? What's this 4 going to break into or change to? Square root of 4 is 2. So this becomes a 2. But it's not 22, right? It's 2 times 2 times radical 5, right? When 2 times 2 is 4. So 4 radical 5 is our answer. Okay, so let me show you, like this was the long way, right? Do you see how we had to do 2 steps? It's because we used a smaller perfect square. So let me just go back up here to the top and kind of show you a slightly different strategy. So I'm going to go off to the side and I'm going to do 80 divided by 25. That doesn't work. I'm going to do 80 divided by 16. And guess what? When I do 80 divided by 16, and this is harder for me because I have to keep switching screens. When I do 80 divided by 16, I get 5 right away. I did it backwards because my head was thinking that way, right? So here I now have, this is equal to 5. So I have 16 and 5. And they're under square roots. And the square root of 16 is 4, so I get 4 radical 5 faster. Okay? So, which one did you think was easier for you? Did you like the long 80? And 80 turned out to be 4 radical 5. And then, and don't forget, like, numbers that end in 0 are divisible by 5 and 10. So, like, that could be another way, depending how much you know or how much you're comfortable with. So, the one I just thought of us doing was radical 72. And this, you know, I'm okay that this is going to be our last one. Okay. So, I'm kind of coming to a clean area on my page because I want to pretend like we haven't done this today. So, I'm going to write down radical 72. And then I'm going to think about my perfect squares. Okay. So if I have 72 and I think about perfect squares and I'm thinking about big perfect squares, well, 100 is too big and that's 10 times 10. 9 times 9 is 81. That's too big, right? So then I'm like, okay, 8 times 8 is 64. Do you think 72 is divisible by 64? No, because you can't, like, it's not even, so I'm going to just cross that out. So now I'm just going to bring down my 72 again. Okay, that was 8 times 8. Ooh, 7 times 7 is 49. If I do 72 divided by 49, do you think I'm going to get 2? No, it's going to be 1 point something, right? And could you try it in your calculator if you wanted to? Okay, so I hope I'm not rushing the process, but I want you to see what happens. I'm going from the biggest one. So now I go back here. Here's my 72. I'm now at 6 times 6 is 36. Oh, let's check that one. Okay, so 72 divided by 36. 2. Okay, so I get the number 2. So if I put 36 over here and 2 right here, I'm going to get my answer in my very next step, right? So the square root of 36 is 6, and this stays as square root of 2. And so that's simplest radical form. It's equal to radical 72. Now, there will be a distractor answer, and I'll show you what that is. Because a lot of kids remember their 9 facts because they're like, oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I put, oh, wait, 7, no, 8. 8, sorry, 72, right? So I might remember that 72 is 9 times 8, right? So this is kind of taking the smaller numbers that Gabby likes. The square root of 9 is 3. That's great. But the problem is the square root of 8 isn't done. Because you know what 8 is? It's 4 times 2. Right? So a lot of kids get jammed up with the square root of 8 because we're like, oh, it's such a small number. It must be great. We forget that we can still do this. And then we have a 2 and we have a radical 2. So then 3 times 2 is 6. Okay, so that's where things can get dangerous. Radical 8 is one of those danger zones. It's not simplified. Okay. All right, so I think I'm going to close it there. That's okay.